Hello and welcome to what is, I am pretty sure, one of the most eagerly awaited vlogs from me of 2019. It's the almost annual route planning vlog where I talk about my plans for where I'm going to go on the canals this year, and what is more, the real highlight of the vlog, as always, a hand-drawn, beautiful, intricate, detailed, perfect scale map of the canals to show you where I'm planning to go, and that's coming up in just a second. I have been consulting all my guidebooks to work out what should I do and where should I go. And by the way, I get a lot of people saying, what are those guidebooks you're using? And these ones are the Nicholson's guides, and I use these largely just because there were some of them on the boat when I bought it, so they were my first introduction to canal guides, and I bought a couple of ones that were missing because there's 7 in the set. I haven't quite got the full set, but I got most of them. I'm not a great fan of them, to be honest. They do show the canals and they show where the Elsan points are and the water points, and, you know, they're maps. They show you what you need to know, but there's just lots of little things I don't really like about them. The main alternative, the main competitor, I suppose, is the Pearson's guides, which come in what do you call it, a landscape format rather than portrait, and they have a more chatty style, I suppose, and a more cartoon-like, might be to do them a disservice, but it's more of a sketchy style of map rather than it being a formal OS map. A lot of people prefer Pearson's. I'm not a fan of those either. And of course you can get canal maps like Open Canal Map on an iPhone or Android phone or tablet or whatever. And again, I'm not wildly happy about either of those. You can zoom in on the map, pinch and zoom and pinch and zoom, but they've got tiny, tiny text and tiny, tiny icons, and no matter how much zooming you do, the map zooms and the icons stay the same. And when you've got as rubbish eyesight as I have, even with glasses, you know, old and vision is fading and you're a bit of an old duffer, I like things in big type, big icons and big type, and the apps just don't seem to be able to do that for me. So sorry, that was a diversion, wasn't it? But anyway, those are Nicholson's guides. I will leave a link to these in the video description below if you want to go and buy some. I'll try and put links to the Pearson's guides as well. Right, enough jabbering. I know that you're probably on the edge of your seat waiting to see the map, so let's have a go. Well, the first thing we need, of course, is an outline map of England and Wales. So here's the south coast. There's Kent. I used to live there, so I know that's very accurate. You've got the Thames estuary here, Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, and then you've got the Wash, haven't you? And then it goes up north, and then up that way is Scotland. I've had a few people ask, can you go to Scotland from the English canals? And the answer is no, they are entirely disconnected. And then it comes down here a bit, and you've got places like Liverpool there, and then of course you've got Wales, which comes out like that, does a big wobble like that. Then you've got the Severn estuary, and well, I think that's on a par with my previous year's maps. So this, just for the avoidance of doubt, is Wales, and this is England. London, here for my overseas viewers, Birmingham, centre of the universe, here, and Braunston, from which I use as my reference point for starting out on pretty much all my grand journeys because it's such a well-known canal point. Braunston is, well, let's say it's here. So where to go? So many options. One can go down. That's what I did last cruise, the end of last year. Down that way, down the Grand Union towards London. You've got the Kent and Avon runs along here. You've got the South Oxford comes down here. But I have done a bit of that, and I've done a little bit of the stuff here. So this year, I would quite like to head this way. Possibly to Liverpool. We'll have to see how it goes. So the gist of the trip is going to be, this could go horribly wrong, I think, up the North Oxford, which then joins at Hawkesbury Junction the Coventry Canal. So Coventry's just sort of here. and that goes north. Actually, it's more of an angle than that. It's not directly north, but it serves the purpose. And then you join the Trent and Mersey, which does a big shape like that, from the Trent over here up towards the Mersey, which strictly speaking ought to be up there, but you again get the gist. Well, in fact, this does go kind of up there to there. And if you saw my voyage from, not last year because I didn't cruise much last year, but the year before, of course I went up to the Anderton Lift, which is sort of here-ish, and then I ended up coming down. I've left myself no space to do the Shropshire Union, but the Shropshire Union came down here and a little bit in towards Walsall, and then I came out on the Staffs and Worcester. But that was the previous trip. So this one, up the North Oxford, up the Coventry, and a place I went past last time, just as soon as you turn onto the Coventry, just next to Nuneaton, you've got the Ashby Canal, which looks pretty much identical to that. And I've not done the Ashby Canal. I know a lot of the other narrowboat vloggers have done the Ashby. I appear to be the only one who hasn't. So this year, I'm going to turn up the Ashby Canal. And you get to the end, it doesn't go anywhere at the end, it stops, you turn around and you come back again. And then I will carry on up the Coventry and connect again to the Trent and Mersey. Now, I've done the T&M before, but I shall do a little bit of it again, round here and up to, where do you go? You go through Stoke-on-Trent, which is there, and you do the, is this before? It's just before the Harecastle Tunnel. Let's get this right. Just before you do the Harecastle Tunnel, you can turn right onto the Calden Canal, which looks like that. It's got two little branches at the end. And literally, oh, I've drawn it on the wrong side of Stoke-on-Trent, haven't I? You come through Stoke-on-Trent, and it look right. That's not Stoke-on-Trent. There's Stoke-on-Trent, and you come through Stoke-on-Trent. You get to Stoke Toplock, and there's Etruria. And just before you go through the Harecastle Tunnel, you can do a sharp bend back on yourself and go down the Calden Canal, which, as I say, has these two little bits at the end. So I'll do the Calden Canal. And then, having come back, I'll go through the Harecastle again. And how far up do we go? It's immediately on the other side of the Harecastle, isn't it? Just there's the tunnel. That's the Harecastle Tunnel, and immediately as you come out of the Harecastle Tunnel, you can either go down Heartbreak Hill, which is all those locks I did in the Glorious Sunshine those 2 years ago, or you do a little loop over onto the Macclesfield Canal, and it actually goes back over the top of the Trent and Mersey over a little aqueduct there. So I will do that. That's the Macclesfield Canal, which goes up, funnily enough, through Macclesfield. And I forget exactly where it stops. I think it's Marple. Yeah, I think it's Marple. And at Marple, you can go south. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's south, onto the Peak Forest Canal, which also has, I think, two little ends. And then there's a little bit north of the Peak Forest Canal. So just to recap, up Ashby, up Calden, up through Harecastle, and then the Macclesfield, and then these two bits of the Peak Forest Canal. That is my plan so far, and that could easily take months, frankly. Months, especially at my speed, which is dawdling speed, very much canal time. This is where it gets interesting, and I'm very much undecided, and I suspect I'll be undecided right up to the point where I get there, because when you get here, now let's get this right, otherwise the locals will be annoyed. You've got Manchester, which is roughly here. I'll write it with an M. I'm pretty sure that geography is not great. I think it's level with Leeds, but you get the gist. So here, you can either go west through Manchester and join the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, which, yeah, no, you see Liverpool's really here. Let's put Liverpool there. There we go. Liverpool is now here alongside Manchester, and the Leeds and Liverpool Canal does a little loop like that and then disappears off that way somewhere over the hills and far away. But it's also got this little loop here. So having come through Manchester, you can join the Leeds and Liverpool Canal and either go into Liverpool, which I've heard a lot of people say lots of good things about, and there's a big mooring basin, and I think you have to book passage into it because you have to go on some bit of open waterway or something. I haven't really looked into that, but I know there's something to do with booking to get into Liverpool. But the other thing you can do from Liverpool is go up here. There's a little stalk here, and then you've got the Ribble Link, and there's the Ribble estuary, and if you book passage you can go across the Ribble Link and up to the Lancaster Canal, which looks, from what I've seen of it, to be absolutely gorgeous, really nice. And because it's right at the top here and ends at the top, I don't think it's that much used. I think it's quite quiet, but it certainly looks very pretty. But you do have to go through the Ribble Link, and then there's a whole load of locks right at the bottom here which look fairly hard work. But that's a possibility. But not quite the trouble. The worry about that is I have to go through Manchester, and as regular viewers of the vlog will know, I'm not partial to, well, even towns, but let alone big cities. I was nervous going through Birmingham, although it was fine. But even the Nicholson's Guide has warnings about not mooring overnight in Manchester. Now, every time I say this on a video, I get really angry people from the place I'm talking about saying, how dare you say this about our beloved city? Well, look, I'm not saying it. I've not been to Manchester. I can't say it is not a place to go. What I can say is that what I have read from people who presumably know what they're talking about, other boaters and the guidebooks, is that it's not wise to moor overnight in Manchester. But the other option, if I don't go that way, up the Liverpool and up the Lancaster, is that I could go up the Huddersfield Narrow Canal over the Pennines, which should just be the most stunning, beautiful, wonderful scenery. Small snag with the Huddersfield Narrow is, because you're going over the Pennines, lock, 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 lock. It's pretty much just locks. The whole stretch of the Huddersfield, it's just locks. Barely get going, lock, lock, lock. And then you've got the Huddersfield, sort of reach the summit, and then you come down on the Huddersfield Wide, which is locks, 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 because you're coming down again. And that's just an awful lot of effort for a solo boater, I think. And I've, again, read advice saying don't do it solo, have help going over the Huddersfield Narrow. And then, of course, when you come out this end, I either then need to go onto the Calder and Hebble, which actually I think these two meet here, and you've got a bit of the Calder and Hebble? Do I mean Calder and Hebble? I think I do. Or is it the Ayr and Calder? Yeah, I haven't really studied this bit in the books. But the point is, I'm pretty sure one bit of that comes down here through Manchester again as well. I can either go that way and kill myself with all the lock work, and then at the end I'm still not quite sure where to go then, or I can go this way, go through a town centre, which by the way also has locks, 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 locks all the way through the town centre, and then head this way. So I'm uncertain. The bits I'm certain of are Ashby, Caldern, Macclesfield, Peak Forest, and then, depending on where we are in the year, either head back I like to be in the Midlands because I've got family in the Midlands, so come next winter, come next November, I'll want to be around here somewhere so that I'm in striking distance of family. It doesn't really matter where, but I would want to be back, I think, for next winter. So I think it depends what time of year it is when I get here, how brave and how energetic I'm feeling as to whether I go that way or that way. Any suggestions are welcome in the comments below, of course. And any points of interest on the ones I'm definitely going to, please do drop a note below. And really, we'll see how it goes from there. I think it is going to be a very exciting, good fun trip, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Some bits I've done before, like parts of the Trent and Mersey, but I really rather enjoyed the Trent and Mersey, so I don't have a problem with doing that. Just before I finish, every time I've done this in the past, I've had a couple of people comment they'd like to buy, no seriously, they said, I'd like to buy your map. I cannot for the life of me imagine why, but this limited edition, one-off, hand-drawn, exclusive map of some bits of the UK canal network could be yours. Just make me an offer in the comments below. See how far that goes. Right, that's it for now. Cheerio.